Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another review, this time of another new Dapol wagon. A few weeks ago I did a review of this is the Dapol O-Gauge Turbot wagon, and they turned out to be really good wagons in the end. If you'd like to check out the video, I will put a link up in the top right of the screen right now. What I failed to mention in that review is that Dapol have produced a double O-Gauge version of the Turbot wagon as well, and what I also failed to mention is that I bought one. So here is mine right here. This is the double O-Gauge Turbot wagon, based on the exact same prototype of course, and Dapol are offering the exact same liveries as well, I believe. If you'd like to see what those are, I will include an affiliate link to Hatton's down in the description where you can browse the range and buy them for yourself if you want to. For the double O-Gauge version, I decided to go with the other livery on offer, which I believe is the Dutch Engineers livery. It's like a grey/yellow livery. We'll see in a minute. Anyway, there's something that I want to talk about with these wagons, and that is the price. The RRP for these wagons is £26.50, I believe, something like that. And I bought this from Hatton's for £22.53. Which is crazy. I mean, this wagon here, this is the Oxford tank wagon. This is only £4 cheaper, and I thought this tank wagon was really good value. And here from Dapol, we have a significantly larger wagon. Not only that, but a bogied wagon with twice the number of wheels. Yeah, is it me, or does the value for money here sound insanely good? I know it's only a wagon, but these days, you know, the prices in model railways are getting so high to the point where some people are going to be barred from entering this fantastic hobby. But then you've got companies like Dapol who are still offering really good value models, and it doesn't just start and end with a Turbot wagon. I mean, the Mogul that I reviewed was fantastic value for money as well. So I've really high hopes that this model will prove to be quality as well. I've no idea at this point whether or not it will. I really hope that it's built properly and it works as it should, and that it's got even close to the level of detail that the O-Gauge version did, because if it does tick all of those boxes, I think this will be a real winner. But instead of waffling about it, let's find out for sure whether or not that's the case. Let's get it out and have some fun with this today. Alright, so I don't know why it is, but I've just got a really good feeling about this one. I'm really hoping I won't be proved wrong this time. Look, even the box is printed the correct way this time, so yeah, got a really good feeling about this. This is also the first time ever that I will be unboxing a double O-Gauge piece of rolling stock, or any model really, having only experienced the O-Gauge version in the past. So I think it's going to break my mind witnessing a tiny version of a model that I'm already so used to, so that should be really interesting. Let me show you the end of the box, then you can see the exact version I went for. So this one is 4F-043-010. It's a Turbot bogie ballast wagon in the Engineers Dutch, and that's the running number there, which is 978003. Not an awful lot to see on the box, so I think we'll get this out straight away and see what it's like. I dare to hope that there's some die-cast on this wagon. For that price, I'm not sure whether that's a fool's hope or not. Maybe it is. The box doesn't feel dreadfully heavy, but yeah, you never know. There might be a chance, mightn't there? Okay, let's see then. So there's a bit of an accessories bag here, which is interesting because there are sort of 4 couplings inside here. Why are there 4? Are they different lengths? So these are the sort of NEM to NEM couplings, which will allow you to close couple the wagons, I assume, although it looks as though the standard sort of tension lock ones are fitted to the model already. We've also got painted vacuum pipes inside there, and what look like maybe chain link couplings, just like the ones we saw on the O-Gauge version, although hopefully not just like the ones on the O-Gauge version, because they fell apart and didn't work properly. Although I won't find out, because I will just use the ones that are fitted to the model. Okay, come on then, let's see what this is like. Cool. It looks pretty cool, actually. It's really messing with my head seeing such a tiny version of a wagon that I've already sort of spent hours looking at. So this is quite magical in a way. Okay, let's pull it out. Here it is. Oh, wow. This is crazy. It is just like a miniature version of the O-Gauge version, and I'm pleased to say that just looking at it, it seems that all of the amazing level of detail that was present on that O-Gauge version has been faithfully recreated in double O-Gauge. I was wondering, you know, is the underframe going to look quite as good? Will they have managed to capture the same level of detail? Well, it seems that they have, yes. And already I can tell just by feeling this that the underframe is die-cast. That is just phenomenal, isn't it? This cost just over £20. What incredible value for money. I reckon we've got sprung buffers as well. And as I say, this is not a small wagon. Wow. Blown away. What value for money this is. Wow, very, very impressed with that. So I'm just going to take this up onto the white background and show you the details. I might as well just play the detail section from the O-gauge video, because seriously, this double O-gauge version seems to have the exact same level of detail, which is just marvellous, isn't it? Okay, really excited by this. Let's take some close-ups. Wow. Is all I can say, to be honest with you. In fact, I can imagine other manufacturers really not liking Dapol because of models like this, because they seem to spend so much of their time trying to convince us that these increasingly ridiculous prices are necessary and justified, and then Dapol come along with models like this and like the Mogul and like their whole host of incredible O-gauge locomotives and just throw all of that out of the window and into the street. The value for money here is just beyond belief. I mean, what have we got here? We've got a large wagon with 4 axles. I mean, you know the price of buying wheels. Those alone will have accounted for a huge amount of the cost. The wagon contains no small amount of metalwork. As I say, the underframe is all made of metal. You've got quite complex detail. You've got sprung buffers, as you can see here. The model came with 8 couplings. Most models only come with 2, one for each end. Well, this one has 4 different ones for each end if you want to. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Dapol, for bringing us some quality models to the market at such a reasonable price. I can't say enough about how much I like this. So let's start off with the decoration then, which is quite complex and is quite good, it must be said. Look up close here. There's quite a lot of printing going on the side. I'll just show you some of this. There's the Turbot. You've got the sort of Dutch engineer's yellow stripe that goes across the top. I mean, it's not bad, is it? You can't see very much overspray going on there. There is a little bit on the sort of brake lever. That, amusingly enough, was true with the O-gauge version as well, but that's not a big deal, is it? The axle boxes are printed as well, and you can see even on the bogies there's some printed details. Yeah, the decoration is absolutely fantastic. I really cannot fault it. The level of detail is marvellous as well. I just can't believe how fine some of these details are. I was really wondering to myself before I started this video, can they really have represented all of those details that they did on the O-gauge version? Well, yes they have. Look at the door mechanisms. They look every bit as good as they did on the O-gauge version. Even on the underside, you can see those springs which would sort of compensate for the weight of the doors. Oh, it's just absolutely marvellous. Look at the underframe as well. Again, I reiterate, all of this underframe is made of metal, and that brings the weight up quite nicely. It's over 50 grams, well, 51 grams, but it's over 50 grams, that's the point, which brings up the weight. I mean, there's very little space in this wagon where you could hide extra weights, so the fact that they've made the frame die-cast is really quite marvellous. And look at all of the brake rigging going on underneath there. You've got the tanks, all of the mechanisms for the doors, as I've said. Oh, it's just really, really marvellous. Again, such a shame these models don't run upside down, so that all of that marvellous detail is on display as the models run. Yeah, it really is very, very impressive. I like this. Let me show you some more of the details then. So we do have some sort of moulded details. The lamp brackets, for example, are not separately fitted or anything like that. They are just part of the moulding, but they are separately painted, which is decent. Looking at the inside, again, it does look as though the doors are separately fitted. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. So again, as with the O-gauge version, you can't open and close them as readily as you could in real life. But if you wanted to carefully somehow get one of them off, you could, I think, model it in the open position if that's something you wanted to do at a yard or a station or something. It's just nice to have the option, isn't it? It's quite good, that. And of course, because they're separately fitted, they just look that little bit more realistic. Somehow when doors and things are just a part of the moulding, they never look quite as good, but the fact that you've got genuine gaps around these doors makes them look like they really could open, even though that's not the case. And on such a tiny little double O-gauge model, I think that level of realism is quite impressive. So yeah, I'm really quite blown away with this. I was not expecting that die-cast, and I certainly wasn't expecting features like sprung buffers on a model that cost only just over £20. I think this might be the cheapest model I've ever bought that has sprung buffers on board. Absolutely fantastic. Right, well, I can only hope that I am half as impressed with the performance as I am with the appearance of this model, and if indeed that proves to be the case, I think this model will get a really good score. Let's get it onto the track and see how it fares. So as you can see, the consist I have set up to test the Turbot is a little bit bizarre, but I want to test the thing properly. I've set up the Helgen Class 58, which is quite a good runner, so I'm trusting that to do the testing today. And then I've set up a range of wagons, and between an Oxford one and a Bachmann one, I'm going to put the Turbot. The reason I'm doing it that way is so that I can test how it couples up to different manufacturers' couplings, just to make sure it works as it should. Okay, let's pop it onto the track then and test how freewheeling this wagon is. And if I'm being being completely honest, I have already done the Gordon's Hill test, the rolling test, whereby I let it roll down the hill and we see how far it goes. And as you can see, the result there is really quite impressive. It got onto the second curve at the bottom of Gordon's Hill, and when you consider that this has 4 axles producing drag and not just 2, as is the case with most wagons I look at, I think that is rather impressive. And with it on the track like this, you can just tell that it's a really free rolling wagon, which is really, really good. Okay, so how are the couplings? Well, we've coupled to the Backman without any problems at all, and we've coupled to the Oxford. Okay, well, it's looking good. Let's just hope it runs nicely as part of this train without derailing or causing trouble on curves. Hopefully it will not. Come on then, Class 58, let's give this a try. Okay, why am I nervous? That's the most bizarre thing ever. I'm just waiting for the Turbot. Hopefully it's actually going to be fine. Because then I'm excited because I get to give this a really good score. Well, that's one of the dodgy bits over with, the S-bend. Can't hear any wheels jumping off. I mean, it's fairly heavy, so I can't imagine the wheels jumping off. And so far, so good. Yep, still looking good, isn't it? And to be honest, if it works as it should on this layout, which as I always say is very much a worst case scenario, then we know that reasonably you can expect this to perform well on any other layout, as long as it's not worse than mine, but there's not many like that. And there we go. Once the Turbot passes the camera, that is a complete lap without any problems. And I think that is marvellous. Well done, Dapol. What a fantastic wagon. And I'll show you what else I'm going to be running alongside it. On the middle line, I have another Dapol locomotive. It is the 73, and I've chosen this one not because it's a good runner, because it's an absolutely terrible runner. In fact, it's cut out already. Oh, it's... Are you seeing this? Every time I slap the floor, it just... Oh, it might be coming. I've tried and tried and tried to fix this absolute heap of garbage, but nothing I do will fix it. But it has the same livery as the Turbot, so I'm doing it. It's the 73, there it is. What a nightmare. And then on the inside line we have a diesel, just to carry on the diesel theme really. That is the Hornby Class 56, very good loco that. Okay, well, let's enjoy the Turbot running around. Let's enjoy the fact that it's staying on the track and working as it should. And let's enjoy the fact that this is just such a darn good wagon. Yep, this is epic. I mean, really, it's just everything you want well, it's everything I want in a model. I won't speak for everybody. But it's quality, it's inexpensive, there's loads of metal on board, it works as it should. It's got the sweet spot where the weight is concerned, not too heavy, not too light. It's just unfaultable. And for me, that is quite a rare thing, isn't it? Yeah, very, very impressed and pleased with this one. Right, let's have some ratings then for the Dapol double O gauge Turbot wagon. And here are my scores. Now, I know what you're going to say, this looks like a pretty darn good score, and it is indeed. I should just point out though that it is not within the scope of my reviews to cover just how accurate or prototypical a model is. My interests lie more in the model's build quality, their value for money, their performance, their features, and so my score very much reflects that. Having said that then, the level of detail I've given 4.5 stars. The only reason I haven't given this 5-star on detail is because it didn't have the opening doors. Now that is by no means a criticism whatsoever. I think it would be very unreasonable to complain that this doesn't have opening doors. However, that is a feature that some models do have, same as the O gauge version really. If I gave this 5 stars, that would be unfair to those models, but the level of detail is seriously impressive. The decoration is fantastic. You've got sprung buffers, huge choice of couplings, the underframe detail just beggars belief. Really, really nicely detailed wagon. The performance, I just can't fault it. They're incredibly free rolling, which is fantastic. They stay on the track, the couplings are functional, and if they're not to your taste, you have an incredible number of different options included within the price of the Wagon, which is just insane. Yeah, it just absolutely does what it says on the tin, and if something works correctly on my layout, then you can be pretty sure it's going to work on yours as well. The quality, again, I can't fault it. The way this was put together was phenomenal. No glue marks in sight, absolutely fantastic, and that's even more impressive given just how much detail was on this thing. Yeah, you've got nice metal wheels, a die-cast underframe. The quality cannot be faulted, I don't think. And all of this becomes even more impressive when you realise that these are available for just £22.53. That's what I paid at Hatton's. To be honest with you, that is a marvellous, marvellous price for this wagon, isn't it? When you consider everything you get, I'm just blown away, but I was not expecting all of that metalwork. I was not expecting sprung buffers for just a tad over £20. This has really, really impressed me, and I hope my excitement is showing through because I am really, really happy with this purchase. So overall then, that is an unbelievably good score of 9.65 out of 10. Let's put that into the 00 gauge rolling stock logbook. There it is, top of course, just above the Oxford 12-ton tanks, which were fantastic, but I think this just takes the crown a little bit, doesn't it? Wow. Well done, Dapol. And if you too want to pick up one of these wagons at such an amazing price, I do, as I said at the start, have affiliate links down in the description, so check them out if you want. And don't forget to let me know what you think down in the comments. Have I just been won over by the die-cast? Is there any reason why I shouldn't have given it such a high score? I really don't think so. I always rack my brains when it comes to choosing the scores, and yeah, I try and always be balanced. I always try and give some good and some bad, but this time I was really struggling to think of any bad at all. Seriously, I mean, the lack of opening doors, wow, that's the worst thing I can possibly say about this model. That's saying something. Amazing. Well folks, I hope you really enjoyed this as much as I did. You know what, it's just an unassuming little box, isn't it? You think, oh, it's a Turbot wagon, this will just be a mundane little video. And then you find something as impressive as that. Maybe I'm daft, maybe I'm mental for getting so excited about just a little wagon, but it really does make my day, it makes my week when I come across something that I'm not expecting to be particularly outstanding, and then it proves to be one of, honestly, the best wagons I've ever owned in my life. A very, very pleasant surprise, that. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. If you made it to the end, well done. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. All right, folks. See you on the next one.